So today let's chat about special needs and about dyslexia and how the outdoor area can help children who are dyslexic. So I'm dyslexic. It wasn't discovered with me until later on in my life, although I think me, my family and my teachers were all very aware of it. I especially struggled in English, but I think as a collective family we had decided that I didn't want to be labelled. I've got two very able sisters, and I think my mum especially wanted to protect me slightly from that, and to what my mum says is she didn't want me to ever think that there was an excuse of why I shouldn't try hard, even though she was very aware I was going to have to try a lot harder. But, you know, I came to the outcomes where, so I was in quite a few low ability classes at school, but with the support of my mum, I managed to get my A levels above the majority of what I needed, maths, English and science above C. I did go on to do A levels. I did very practical A levels, coursework kind of A levels that didn't have as many exams. And I then went on to do a degree in media, which was 100% practical. So I kept myself down that road where it was be practical, Sarah. That's the way you best learn. That's the way you best engage. I then came out of media because I was living in London and I didn't feel like it was my thing. So I came back and I was a TA for a short while, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And my dad was like, come on, Sarah, you can do this. Go and have a go at doing your PGC and let's see where that goes. So I did, had a go at it. I obviously found some areas very difficult, but I started to relearn and know how I learn and how I can get this academic knowledge into my brain and the sort of methods, and I kind of like spent that process knowing how I learn, and from that I've then applied it into my teaching. So I come across quite a few people, like I'll work with a brilliant TA and I'll be like, wow, you're brilliant, you know, have you ever thought about like going and doing your PGCE? And on quite a few occasions I've had people say to me, oh, I'm dyslexic, I can't really do it. And that's absolute nonsense, and I want you to know that now. There is nothing in this world that dyslexic people cannot do. There might be things that you've got to work on, and it for me, it wasn't that I can't learn, it was my personal approach to how I learn. I don't think schools are, and our teaching is diverse enough to support children with special needs. I think we're still regimented. By the time you get to sort of like year 1, year 2, hopefully not year 1, I hope you're still doing continuous provision there, and I hope it still feeds on into year 2. But from then onwards, it's desk work to the board. There's lots of schools, I'm not saying, that aren't doing lots of interactive methods, but to be honest with ourselves, the majority of our teaching is from board to chair, and that, I think, would disengage most children if that's all we're doing all of the time. But especially for children that need to move and are practical learners, autism, ADHD, dyslexia, where practical methods of learning really support how they learn. And obviously I went through this journey myself. And just to say, you know, a child that really struggled at school, I hated learning. I hated it. I loved drama. I loved PE. I loved anything where I was moving. But I have 2 degrees and an MA now. So, and I've just written a book. So there's achievement there to be made. It's just knowing about how you learn and where you can go. So as a personal point of view, for any staff out there that are dyslexic, and there are dyslexic teachers, we've got 2 dyslexic teachers at the multimodal teacher that work for us. One works in they both work in Key Stage 2, both year 6 and year 5. One has just gone on to create her own outdoor nursery. What I love about dyslexic people is that they're so like, I always know when I've met a dyslexic person because they're really open-minded and creative, and I just instantly can feel the electricity of original thinking and creative thinking. Everybody's not like that. I'm just saying dyslexic people do have this part of their brain that just makes them think so differently, and that is an amazing thing to have. Although the academic work can be really difficult at times. I mean, I have to repeat things until it gets into my brain. Where by my sisters, it's like it just seems to come to them naturally. But there you go. we're all different, and obviously I have these different strengths of being creative. So in terms of children, how can we support them more in the classroom with outdoor learning? Well, what I love about outdoor learning is that there's no room for a whiteboard and a chair. It has to be, and it forces you to be practical. Obviously, what we do is we use natural resources as well, which are very sensory, but for dyslexic people as well, who generally are quite creative, it's really good time for them to be innovative and imaginative with what those objects are and how we can create with them. So let's say that we're taking some Key Stage 2 children outside, where naturally we might have done storyboards to retell a story. We can go outside, we can find props using the natural resources, hand out the clay, let's get the props together, create all of that, and let's role play it outside. We've got a scene there for us to be able to use, something real, something purposeful, for them to be able to act something out, so that when it comes back in, for them writing their story, they're really going to have this sense of purpose where, you know, they can feel, smell, and it's, you know, going outside is not just for special needs people. Of course, it helps with individual needs, of course it does, but it also helps all of the other children just be inspired by the fact that learning doesn't just come off a board, and learning is all around us and it's enjoyable. Another thing that I really like about outdoor learning that supports dyslexic children is sometimes it can be very difficult for children that need the learning to happen again and again and again, for that to sink into their long-term memory and for them to process that. So repeating things often is needed. I hear a lot of people saying to me, we've gone over and over and over the phonics scheme, it's still not sinking in. And I think that's got to be a message to us all, that it's not sinking in because that method is not working. So try a different way. Maybe that they really need to be physical and practical with it. So outdoor learning can really help with that. You know, if you are doing phonics, get some rocks out, put your phonics sounds on, hide them all around the outdoor space, and it just freshens up the way that they're looking at that. It may be that they've just switched off. You've done something so many times to them that now it has become tedious to them and not interesting. And if any of the children are what I was like, which was, you know, I was very good at switching off and showing that I was listening, but actually I wasn't. I was imagining, and I'd got loads of stories in my head, and I was focused on that rather than anything that was happening in front of me, because you weren't entertaining me, basically. You weren't interesting me. Where I think with the coursework and the practical work, because I had to be hands-on, I had to be involved. So it helped me to learn. So yeah, go outside, hide rocks, you know, get sticks and make letters with them. This is going to be really purposeful, imaginative, creative and interesting and hands-on for them. So yeah, you know, have a look at our resources online. We've got lots. I mean, our whole approach, all of our resources are completely worksheet free. We have templates sometimes to help stimulate the learning outside, but other than that, there's no time for sitting down with us. It's all active games, methods, practical ideas, creative ideas, really trying to enthuse the children to have a love for learning, no matter what your individual needs are. So I hope that helps. If you do want anything further, we've got a special needs area on the website, which we're fast developing for resources. But as ever, the training is what you need. The training is what we plan you gain and we deliver, and gives you the skills to be able to create your own imagination, your own resources and your own lesson plans. So I hope that helps. Again, if you need anything from us, live chat on the website, or it's info@themuddypuddleteacher.co.uk, and subscribe.